Pisces, welcome to your monthly horoscope for April 2026. My name's Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer. Pisces, April is a huge money month for you. You have a lot of activation in that second house of your finances, your values, and the value that you place upon yourself. You are about to go through major shifts, major changes, and major transformation in multiple areas of life, but there is a significant amount of focus on your finances. So make sure you subscribe and let's get into it. So I break these horoscopes down by week and I select a chart for each week so you have a visual. As soon as we come into this month on the 1st, we have the full moon in Libra. This is lighting up your 8th house of your partner's finances, shared resources, loans, debt, taxes, and inheritance. Full moons are about endings, culminations. This could be a financial decision that is taking place at this time. Maybe you're paying off debt. Maybe you're approved for a loan. There could be a lot of financial decisions. This is also the house of deep psychological healing and transformation. And so there could be some emotional release here. If you want to take a deeper dive into this full moon, I have a separate forecast on my YouTube channel. You can check that out. I get into the chart for the full moon and also all 12 rising signs. Now, on April 3rd, we have Mercury forming a trine to Jupiter. This is the final trine between Mercury and Jupiter because of that Mercury retrograde. And you've had Mercury retrograde in your first house. And so you've been sitting with a lot, reevaluating a lot. Possibly a lot to do with your finances, a lot to do with your relationships, and a lot to do with your life direction in general. So, this is where there starts to begin some forward movement. The very first trine was back in February, and then the second trine was while both planets were retrograde, March 9th. So think back to that time period, what was showing up for you. Now is when you can gain some clarity and understanding, whether it's decisions are finally made or you are finally moving forward with something. This is Mercury in your first house, forming a trine to Jupiter in your fifth house of children and creativity and passion, romance, hobbies, interests. So it can definitely have to do with you and a romantic partnership or what you love, what lights you up. Also on the 3rd, we have Venus forming a square to Pluto. Venus is in your 3rd house of self-expression, your mindset, reading, speaking, writing, also your local community, your neighbors, your neighborhood, also vehicles. So when Venus forms a square to Pluto, this can feel quite intense. You do want to be careful of power and control dynamics at this time. This is where you could be navigating something very deeply, something very psychological. This could be like a breakthrough through something that's quite intense and powerful. This is definitely just a day to just be aware of what is coming to the surface for you. Venus rules your 3rd house, but also your 8th house of shared resources and intimacy. And so there could be something quite intense that you're navigating around deep-seated emotions or intimate connections. On the 5th, we have the sun forming a square to Jupiter. This is where we can feel a bit overwhelmed. The sun is in your 2nd house of money and finances and self-worth and forming a square to Jupiter. And so this is too much of something. This is intense. This could be heavy. The sun rules your 6th house of your day-to-day routines, your schedule. And so you could be just really busy at this point and really overwhelmed. So make sure you are taking care of your health, you're resting so that you don't experience burnout, because that is quite what possibly what this could be. And then on the 6th, we have Venus forming a sextile to the North Node and forming a trine to the South Node. So Venus is in your 3rd house, connecting to the lunar nodes, which are in your 7th house and your 1st house. So there could be possible opportunities showing up around relationships or one-on-one connections. You might be meeting the right person on this day, whether it's a business associate or romantic partnership. I mean, it could be anyone, right? It's in that 3rd house. It could be just having a really important conversation that ends up bringing in, some major opportunities for you. Then we get to the 2nd week, and on the 9th, we have Mercury finally leaving shadow. We are finally done with the Mercury retrograde. We finally start to gain some clarity and understanding and move forward. And so, whatever you've been navigating the last couple of months around you and even one-on-one connections, you'll start to feel anything that's been a bit draining or heavy, you will start to feel that alleviate. Also on the ninth, we have Mars entering Aries. Mars is going to enter your second house. And so Mars rules anger, aggression, conflict, but also passion, motivation, drive. Mars can bring in a lot of ambition towards making money. You could just be really passionate to hustle right now and make a lot of money. But Mars can also bring sometimes challenge with money. So it is something to just be aware of, Mars in the second house, or you could just be really busy at work. On the 13th, Mars is going to form a conjunction to Neptune, and there could be some confusion on this day that you just want to be a bit mindful of. I wouldn't make any financial decisions on this day. This can also, when we are feeling tired, Mars literally rules our motivation, willpower, and drive. And when Mars connects to Neptune, sometimes we can feel drained. We have a lack of energy, lack of direction. On the 14th, Mercury is going to enter Aries, bringing more focus to finances. Maybe you're starting to look at different financial streams of income. Maybe you're starting to look at different ways to make money and different money opportunities. Then we get to the third week of April, and on the 16th, we have the Sun forming a conjunction to Chiron and Mercury forming a conjunction to Neptune. So when we have the Sun forming conjunction to Chiron, this is where we could be triggered around a deep-seated wound or vulnerability, possibly around being seen or scarcity. So whatever is surfacing at this point, it is an opportunity to heal and release and let go. So just pay attention on this day to what is surfacing. And with Mercury conjunct Neptune, again, you want to be careful of lack of direction, confusion. This is in your second house. And so I wouldn't, again, sign any financial commitments or make any big financial decisions when these personal planets are connected to Neptune, because you might not be seeing everything clearly. You might be missing something, or there might be something that you're not understanding. Then on the 17th, we have the new moon in Aries. And so this is the time to set those intentions and goals for your finances. What do you want to gain? What are your financial goals for the next 6 months? Now is the time to set those intentions. On the 19th is when we begin Taurus season. So the sun is going to enter Taurus here in your third house of your mindset, self-expression, local community, neighbors. Also on the 19th, we have the Mars Saturn conjunction in Aries. This is when something can come to a head. This is both malefic planets. And so again, you want to watch your finances on this day. Again, this is when something could come to a head. So I wouldn't make any big financial moves. This is just a day to be cautious. I mean, sometimes we have these significant transits. If they're hitting us in certain areas of our life, they could be very intense, very powerful, and create major transformation. But sometimes the transformation can be subtle. This literally could be internal, not necessarily external. Like maybe it is something going on with your finances, but maybe it's also something going on with what you're navigating internally around the value you place upon yourself or your self-worth. Now, on the 20th, we have Mercury forming a conjunction to Mars, and we want to be careful with Mercury and Mars of anger, aggression, conflict, and fights. So just a day to be cautious. And then we get to the fourth week, and on the 23rd, Venus is going to form a conjunction to Uranus. At this point, Uranus is still going to be in Taurus in your third house. Now, Venus rules your third house, and Venus also rules your eighth house. And so this could bring in something unexpected. Like I would watch your driving, because that third house is vehicles and local travel. When we're dealing with Uranus, this is accidents or something unexpected. So, and I'm not saying this to scare you, I'm just saying it for awareness. Just be aware of this day. Uranus can rule, accidents, things happening very unexpectedly. It could have to do with finances, a loan, taxes, inheritance, your partner's finances. On the 23rd and 24th, Venus is going to enter Gemini, and it really depends on your location and your time zone, what day it is, because where I'm at, it's literally midnight when Venus enters Gemini. And on the 25th, Uranus enters Gemini, and this is where you begin this brand new transit. Uranus is entering your fourth house and will completely shift and change this area of your life up over the next 8 months. I will have a separate forecast going really deep into this transit. I'm going to talk about the collective energies and changes that are going to take place and what we can expect and also how this can affect us on an individual level. But Uranus is an outer planet. And so this isn't change that's happening in a day, a week, a month, or even a year. This is gradual change. This is change where when you look back 8 years from now, you'll see how Uranus has changed this area of your life up. Now, also on the 25th, we have the sun forming a square to Pluto. The sun is going to be in your third house, squaring Pluto in your 12th house. So there could be some overwhelm taking place, mental overwhelm. There could be some intense power and control dynamics too. But the sun rules your sixth house of work, health, and daily routine, your schedule, and in the third house of like your mind, your mindset, and mental health. And so I feel like this is where there could just be some intensity you're navigating mentally. You could be overwhelmed. Maybe you're really busy at work, which I mean, there's a lot of second house energy. So you could be really busy at work, making a lot of money, but it's draining your energy. And that's where there's a balance that you have to create almost. And then on the 26th, we have Mercury forming a square to Jupiter and Venus forming a sextile to Neptune. So, Mercury in your second house, squaring Jupiter, again, can feel overwhelming. This is too much of something. Make sure you're watching your spending at this time because this is where you could be spending too much money, or there could be some like heaviness around money or feeling overwhelmed about money. And then with the Venus sextile to Neptune, Venus is in your fourth house of home, family, property, real estate. And also, I love when Venus is transiting the fourth house. This is where I find I tend to like redecorate or paint or do something like new and beautiful and just get the house kind of fresh, change the house up a little bit. When Venus forms a sextile to Neptune, this is where you could be doing something really creative behind the scenes. This could be very spiritual energy. Sextiles bring in opportunities. So there could be an opportunity also coming in maybe to make some money from home or maybe do something behind the scenes to make some money. Then on the 28th, we have Venus forming a trine to Pluto, and it's a trine to Pluto. So this could be very transformational. Venus in your fourth house, forming a trine to Pluto in your 12th house. And so this is where there can be some type of massive transformation taking place. Venus also rules your third house of your mindset. So there could be some type of mental shift taking place at this time as well with the Venus trine to Pluto. Maybe you're developing a new perspective on something. And then on the 29th, we have Venus forming a T square to the lunar nodes, which are in your first house and your seventh house. So as we exit the month, it's almost like we're at a crossroads. We have to choose a path. We have to make a decision that could change the course of our lives and the direction we're moving in. And it could be literally, are you going to choose you or a partner or your needs over your partner's needs? It's the south node in your seventh house of relationships and one-on-one connections, and your north node in your first house of you. So there is something really interesting taking place at the end of the month. The lunar nodes are very fated, very karmic. Now, this could have to do with something you've already been navigating since January 2025 when we had the lunar nodes shift into Virgo and Pisces. Or this could be something that you've been navigating for a couple of months because of the activations that have taken place over the last couple of months. Venus represents your needs, your wants, your desires. And this is where you may have to develop some solid boundaries and really choose yourself over a one-on-one connection. And again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a love partnership. It could be a business partnership. It could be any one-on-one relationship. April is a turning point month. This month changes your money, your home, and your future direction. Now, the dates that I want you to pay attention to the most is April 17th. This is where there could be changes with your money. April 19th, watch for financial responsibilities changing. April 23rd, this is where you can expect news or opportunities to come in. So pay attention to who you are talking to and what is showing up for you. And then April 25th, this is where you could experience some changes within your home or family dynamic. This is a month where you are building a new financial and life foundation. I hope this helps you navigate the energy for this month. Let me know in the comments below how you make out. And if you would like to book a one-on-one pre-recorded reading with me, I structure my readings how I structure my YouTube videos. Only this is your chart instead of a lunar chart or a monthly chart. You can book a birth chart masterclass, solar return, or lunar return, and I walk you through how I put the pieces together. So not only is it a reading, but it is a teaching and learning tool that you can keep forever. Also, come and join me on Patreon. Join the Cosmic Circle. I have exclusive content on there. I am just currently rebuilding my presence on social media and rebuilding my business. And so I will have exclusive content in the Cosmic Circle, monthly lives, and also exclusive bonus episodes to my brand new podcast, Adina's Diary, which is on YouTube, but also on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Podbean. If you are overcoming toxic relationships, narcissistic abuse, this podcast is for you. I am creating a space so that people going through what I've gone through do not have to do this alone. I tell my story on the podcast, and I also want others to come on and tell their story. The more awareness we bring to some of these things, the better. And so, if that aligns with you, check out the podcast. I will have all the information in the description down below. I hope you have a fabulous month. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and I will connect with you in the next one.